Guys, so in this video we're going to be talking about sequences and nth terms, aka we're looking at formulas specifically. So if they give us a formula for an arithmetic sequence, how can we turn that into the actual pattern? And vice versa, if they give us a pattern, how can we turn that into a formula? So for that you have to kind of take advantage of the explicit formula that I've talked about in the past many times, but in case you guys forgot, the explicit formula for an arithmetic sequence is this one. I'm just going to write it up here. F of n equals f1 plus d multiplied by n minus 1. So any term, order n, is equal to the first number in the pattern plus the common difference multiplied by the term number or the order number minus 1. All right, we'll come back to this formula in a minute. For right now, you don't need to use the formula. All you got to do is, so it says for a, b, and c, find the first 5 terms and the 20th term for each nth term formula. So you got to find the first 5 terms and the 20th term. What does that mean? Well, they give you the formula in terms of n, basically. They say f of n equals 6n, f of n equals 3n minus 2, f of n equals 5 minus 2n. Now we got to figure out the pattern based on this formula. So if you want to find the first number or the first term, well, you got to plug in a number for n, and that number would be 1. If you want to find the second term, you got to plug in a number for n, that would be 2. If you want to find the third term, you got to plug in 3, etc. So to find the first one, you're going to have 6 times 1, and my first answer is going to be 6. To find the second one, you're going to have 6 times 2. To find the first one, 3. To find the fourth one, 6 times 4. To find the fifth one, 6 times 5. So it says find the first 5 terms and the 20th term. So to find the 20th term, you're going to have 6 times 20, and that would be your answer for the 20th term. So all I'm doing here is I'm replacing the n with 1 through 5, and then they also want me to do 20, so I'm doing 20 as well. So that'll be 12, that'll be 18, 24, 30. So the pattern is actually 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. And then this one's actually like a lone wolf. 620 is actually 120. 6 multiplied by 20. Okay? So that's what we're doing here. We're plugging in for n. So let's do it again, hopefully more rapidly. So 3 parentheses minus 2, 3 parentheses times something minus 2, 3 parentheses times something minus 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 parentheses times something minus 2, 3 parentheses times something minus 2. So first I'm doing the first 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm doing the 20th one. And I'm replacing the value of n with these numbers here so we can figure out the evaluation of it. So if I do the first one, I have 3 times 1, which is 3, 3 minus 2, which gives me the answer of 1. If I do the second one, I get 6 minus 2, which is 4. If I do the third one, I get 9 minus 2, which is 7. If I do the next one, I get 12 minus 2, which is 10. And if I do the next one, I get 15 minus 2, which is 13. Again, sequences are patterns. So some of you guys are thinking, hey, I figured out the pattern already. Yeah, the pattern is actually 1 plus 3, right? And that gives you 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. 7 plus 3 is 10. 10 plus 3 is 13, etc., etc. You can't do that for the 20th one, though. You actually have to evaluate it. The last one's going to give me 20 times 3, which is 60. 60 minus 2 gives me 58. So there you go. You found the first 5 terms and the 20th. Let's do it one more time just to be sure you guys got it. So same idea here, except that now the formula is going to be different. It's going to be 5 minus 2 parentheses 1, 5 minus 2 parentheses 2, 5 minus 2 parentheses 3, 5 minus 2 parentheses 4, 5 minus 2 parentheses 5, and then 5 minus 2 parentheses 20. That's the odd one out there. So the one that's out of order. So let's plug in the numbers that we are supposed to plug in and simplify. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 20. If I plug in the first one, I get 5 minus 2. If I plug in the second one, I get 5 minus 4. Third one, I get 5 minus 6. And then 5 minus 8. And then 5 minus 10. And then lastly, 5 minus 40. So first answer that I get is positive 3. Second answer that I get is 1. Next answer that I get is -1. Next answer that I get is -3. Subtract them and keep sign of the bigger one, right? And the last one that I get is -5. 5 minus 40, that gives me -35. So for the very last one, you get -35. Okay, now they could give you that, right? So go from a formula to the sequence or the pattern, or they could also give you find the formula that fits the pattern. So they give you a pattern, you got to figure out, hey, what is the formula that represents the arithmetic sequence or the arithmetic pattern? Oh, this is where this guy comes in. F of n equals f1 plus d multiplied by n minus 1. Now for these ones, make sure you understand that you need a formula, right? So you want the formula, which means that your answer is not going to be an actual number. It's going to be a formula. So it's going to be in terms of n. N is in Nancy. So let's see what we have. So we need a couple things for the formula. We need f1 and we need d. That's it. So d, the common difference. What are we adding or subtracting for the first one? Well, if you look at it, we're adding 2, right? So d is going to be equal to +2. Okay, done. F1, what is the first number you see in the pattern? Well, the first number that I see in this pattern is 5. So we need those two things because we need to plug it into the formula. Now, let's go back to the formula real quick. The formula is Fn equals f1 plus d multiplied by n minus 1. We're going to plug in what we know, but we're not going to plug in anything for n because we want a formula, so we're going to leave it in terms of n. So this will be f of n is equal to f1, which is 5, plus d, which is 2, parentheses, n minus 1. Distributive property, combine like terms, and we are done. So the formula in this case would be 5 plus 2 times n and 2 times -1, so that'll be 2n minus 2. So we get f of n is equal to 3 plus 2n. Therefore, this is my formula that represents the pattern. If you plug in 1, you get the first number. If you plug in 2, you get the second number. If you plug in 3, you get the third number. If you plug in 4, you get the fourth number. So if you actually check it, it should actually work out. Okay, let's do it again for letter B. Same idea here. So we have to figure out a couple of things. We got to figure out what is the first number. Well, we got it, right? First number, f of 1 is equal to -8. What are we adding or subtracting? If we look at this from left to right, it looks like we are adding, because we're getting less negative, right? So be careful with that. We're adding 3, so this is going to be +3. So d equals +3. So let's plug it into the formula. So f of n is equal to f1 plus d parentheses n minus 1. Plug in what you know. So f of n is equal to -8 plus 3 parentheses n minus 1. Distributive property and combine like terms so we can simplify. So f of n is going to be equal to -8 plus 3n minus 3, which simplifies to f of n is equal to -11. So 3n minus 11 if you combine this one with this one. And we can't really do anything anymore. Again, we want a formula, so this will be our final answer. Nothing else that we could do. Last one. So that turns into that, that turns into that, that turns into that. So in this case, we're going to have 21 minus something gives us that, minus something gives us that. It turns out that this minus will actually be subtracting 4 each time. So 21 minus 4 is 17, 17 minus 4 is 13, 13 minus 4 is 9, etc. The first number that you see in the pattern is equal to 21. So we're going to plug it into the formula again. Again, we want an arithmetic formula. So we're going to plug it into this guy here because it's an arithmetic pattern. So this gives me f1, which is 21, plus d, which is -4, parentheses, n minus 1. I don't plug anything in for n yet again. So f of n is equal to 21 minus 4n plus 4. When I do the distributive property, right, multiply this times that and this times that. So I get finally 21 plus 4 is 25. So -4n plus 25. I combine this guy and I got this. So this will be my final answer. The function, the arithmetic function or arithmetic pattern that represents this guy right there, this pattern, would be -4n plus 25. And you can verify it and it'll actually work out to what you want. So you can go from a formula to a pattern, or you can go from a pattern to a formula using the explicit formula. Hope this was helpful. See you guys on the next one.